It's another Friday, and it's the Joint Caucus on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. And it's known as the I got you question. Have you taken a bribe before? Have you given a bribe? Well, in a country where inducement is the way to get things done sometimes, it's no wonder that some of our leaders are finding ingenious ways of asking that I got your question. Have you taken a bribe? We'll be talking about fighting corruption here on Joint Caucus. Fighting corruption, perception or reality. And you can join us on the show by sending your thoughts to our Facebook page, facebook.com/joynewsontv. Also, you can send a text to our WhatsApp line, 0560 800 000. I'll repeat, the number is 5056 800 00. All that coming up on Joint Caucus this evening. And you're welcome back. My name is Jifa Bampo. Now, last week, the president was in London at the invitation of Prime Minister David Cameron. He hosted an international corruption summit, and it attracted people from different countries, both from the West and from the developing world. Now, that summit generated a lot of debate about who is corrupt, who is facilitating corruption, and who is giving a bribe, and the like. Well, it emerged that famous question, have you taken a bribe? We'll be talking about that and more here on Joint Caucus. And joining us this evening to start with is the NPP's Deputy Director of Communications. His name is Mike Okwe Jr. Good evening to you.
Very good evening, Jifa.
All right, thank you for joining us.
Very good.
And this anti-corruption summit kind of woke up what had been, it seems, a dormant or dull debate we've been having about corruption. What do you make of, how the issues have panned out since then?
Well, let me start by saying a very good evening to your good self and to your lovely viewers. And to ask you the simple question, where are my brothers from the NDC?
They'll be here.
They'll be here soon. Okay. So in the meantime, we'll have a lovely one-to-one, and then we can have the chat accordingly. Of course, if my brothers from the NDC, you can't make it, don't worry. I'll take your spot as well. This issue about bribe and its, I won't even say antecedents, but follow-up issues, is something which is not surprising, because when you are asked a simple question, Jifa Bampo, have you ever been offered a bribe? The answer is simple, no. Have you ever taken a bribe? No. Have you ever been offered? Yes, I've been offered, but I didn't take it. I mean, it's a simple conversation. Do you mean me as a human being or as a president? Do you mean me as a spirit or as a, all those further questions, you know what it's called? It's called an afterthought. You want to be given the opportunity to be able to think about your answer. And we all know one thing about psychology. Let me just tell you this. When you ask somebody a question and their eyes quickly goes like this to the right before they answer, they are going into their creative mind to think of an answer to give you. So for me, I wasn't surprised, because this is something that we've accused the president's government of being handsomely corrupt. And why do we say that? Look, if you look at issues involving Woyome, Waterville, I confirm, where we had a situation where people were giving money in this country to rear guinea fowls, we never saw even an egg of the guinea fowl. And when Metro TV went there to look at the farm, they said the birds had flown to Burkina Faso. Lo and behold, the cameras went into the sky and we saw blue sky, not even vultures flying for us to claim that that was a confirm. Very, very sad.
Okay, but these issues that you mentioned, yes, for instance, the Woyome case, the president on his trip did tout the fact that these are cases that are being dealt with at the law courts. So, for instance, Mr. Alfred Agbesi Woyome's case is in court, has been in court for quite a while. We know that the issues relating to SADA, there were recommendations made from an audit report. When you also talk about the National Service Scheme, the corruption that went on there, people are being prosecuted on that. I know you didn't mention that, but just take the chance to mention that as well. And also there's the other case of JIDA, which is also in court. So the fact that these things are happening in the court, front center, should at least give some indication that there is some effort to, stamp out the twin evils of bribery and corruption.
Now, let us start with the Woyome case. In the Woyome case, Mr. Woyome was found not guilty because the people who were supposed to be brought in, because Mr. Woyome never went into the bank to go and take the money. He was given it by state officials. And yet those people were not invited. And so the prosecutor said, we can't do much. The judge said, we can't do much. I don't see that as a means of fighting corruption in any way, shape, or form. But most importantly, if we are looking at the issue of sole sourcing in this country, President John Mahama told us that he, as president, has never been involved in giving contracts, procurement, and so on.
Yes, obviously, he's not the one awarding any contracts. There are rules for processes of awarding contracts. They must go through the process. There's a public procurement authority that must deal with that.
Very much. So we thought. We thought that...
You say so you thought?
Yes, so we thought, as in, we thought that that's how it's supposed to be handled in this country. Only for us to later on find out that this was not really the case. And I'll give you one specific example to buttress this point. Now, when it comes to sole sourcing and the government itself, the president interfering in contracts, I have here a letter from the office of the president, Flagstaff House, and that is on the 15th of May, 2015. It is a letter signed by the chief of staff, and it says, and let me read the very relevant part. In pursuant to His Excellency the President's decision, so the President had made a decision, you are directed, a direction from the President, to formally engage West Blue to undertake the following services. Then the services are listed there. Then it goes on to further conclude, you should take the necessary steps to secure the public procurement approval in order to engage West Blue on single source basis. So on this particular West Blue one, the president was involved in the decision making. The president gave a direction as to a contract to be given to West Blue. So when the president tells us that he's not involved in contracts and sole sourcing and so on, that cannot be true.
But Mr. Michael Kwe Jr., you know very well that when it came to the issue of West Blue, there were people who went to court and the like. Nothing was found untoward about whether West Blue deserved this contract or not. There was nothing that was found to be untoward about whether West Blue had clandestinely sought to get itself.
That's not what I'm saying. I've never said there's anything untoward. I'm saying that if the president says that he's not involved in giving of contracts and decision of procurement, it's not true. Because the president's decision, as I read, and direction was involved in awarding this contract. So if the president says on the basis, so this is what he said. He said, I cannot be involved in bribery because I leave that to other people in terms of procurement. And so is that what he told us? Okay. So if we find out that he hasn't left it to other people, but he himself makes decision and gives direction, he makes decisions and gives direction as to how contracts should be awarded, then it follows that his premise of saying that he cannot be bribed cannot be true.
But are you seeking to suggest that because of this letter and that he was involved in the decision-making of this, there was a bribe given to him?
You're not understanding what I'm saying.
No, or it opens him up to take a bribe. Is that what you're saying?
Now we're talking about inconsistency. His story was that he cannot be involved in bribery because he never involves himself with regard to procurement, with regard to contracts. I leave it to the ministers, he said, right? Okay. Yet, I've given you one example with a letter from the chief of staff with the date saying that the president has made a decision and given a direction as to what to be done with the West Blue contract. And he even specifies the services that should be given to West Blue. So I am saying that it is not true that President John Mahama involves himself or removes himself from giving directions and decisions when it comes to contracts. Now, moving from that, and I want Ghanaians to make their own mind. You know, everything aside, I'm not like some of my brothers who like to, maybe what I'll say, with your penny, mini, form. No, I don't believe in that. I believe in making the point, then you leave it for the public to come to their own conclusion. Because some people may conclude it is not the case. Some people may conclude, well, what you said is inconsistent, so there's a problem with the story. That is theirs to consider. Now, apart from the West Blue issue, we have a very serious matter of of the president saying that they, as a government, they are not in any way corrupt. He is leading the charge for corruption, and so on and so forth.
What's the problem you have with that?
Okay. The problem I have with that is that he, the president himself, has been accused, not once, not twice, but on more than 2 occasions for being involved himself in deals which either smacked of or were corrupt. One of them, for example, is the famous Embraer jet case. The president was the head of a government delegation that went to Brazil to go and negotiate on behalf of Ghana for jets to be bought. After his performance, President Mills, according to Martin Hamidou, who is no mean fly, in fact, Martin Hamidou was a former vice presidential candidate before John Mahama to Mills. Martin Hamidou was the then Attorney General, okay, to the government at that time. And he told us that a committee was set up to investigate, amongst other things, public corruption involving President John Mahama. The committee consisted of men
involving President John Mahama or involving
President John Mahama.
Negotiations.
Because
you can't necessarily attribute it to just one person.
I don't know. Maybe
he couldn't have negotiated on his own.
Well, then you should ask Martin Hamidou, because for him, he said involving President John Mahama. The committee was set up to investigate the then vice president. Those were his words. So the people on the committee, we have Mr. Aboa, Mr. Amwa, Brigadier Retired Alote, and so on. The man has gone to tell us this in depth, mention the names of the people on the committee. No mean a man like Martin Hamidou.
But there's the issue of the report. The report has not revealed anything as of now.
There wasn't any report, because he said that the committee did not see the light of day because there was a lot of lobbying, and finally President Mills passed, so the committee was never able to conclude its work.
But Mr. Okoye, some will criticize you and say that you are quick to jump on everything that Martin Hamidou says, and this is somebody who has fallen out with the same government that he was serving in.
Yes, but when Martin Hamidou complained about the Woyema issue, when Martin Hamidou complained about this particular issue, it's not about falling out. He's telling us things that happened when he was part of the government. And till now, you see, let me give you an example.
And I guess that's where people will question that. Why didn't he take action from within when he was part? He stepped out.
No, but you know that our constitution doesn't allow you to prosecute the president whilst he's in office. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that could never have been the case.
Yeah, but if there are issues of corruption and you didn't expose it while in government?
Well, he didn't expose it while in government, but after he came out and there were issues, he mentioned it.
Because that's where there's always the criticism. The person has fallen out.
So you don't believe him?
It's not that I don't believe him.
Well,
one will question his motive.
I believe him.
One will question his motive and what he's seeking to gain or achieve in acting or speaking in that manner.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But for me, all I know is that this was an accusation that has been made. I don't know about you, but have you heard President John Mahama come to deny it? Have you had any response?
The fact
on
that there is
note?
no closure.
I just asked a question. Yes or no? Because the viewers need to know. No, I've not heard any response. Then it is for you to take it or leave it. So that, for example, is another issue where the president was mentioned.
So just do a quick wrap up, then we bring in our NDC colleague who's just joined us.
Oh, you can bring him in now so that we can all
Prince Derek
crisscross.
Ajay is the Deputy CEO of the Youth Enterprise Support Program, and we'll be having him shortly respond to the issues. And it's still joint Caucus on the Joy News channel on Multi TV.
Yes.
So, Mike, you can continue.
Yeah, so welcome, Prince.
Yes.
Prince is my brother. I've known him for a very long time. We are both Odadie from this thing. The only caveat I'll give him is that I'm going to go according to his pace. Yes. If Prince come and he does that, he scout that great things, media respond accordingly.
Okay.
So I want to say that before the show will start. I want us to deal with...
Let's deal with the issues. Let's not personalize anything.
Yes,
that's fine.
All.
Okay, so Mr. J, you heard some of the things that Michael Quay Jr. said.
Yes, so my
response.
answer quickly is that he should respond to that. Oh, no, I'm just saying something quickly.
I don't need to respond to you, actually. I don't need to respond
No, I'm saying something. Okay. That unless you're done with me.
I thought that you could just pause for the moment and then let's let Prince come in. Yes, okay. So, Prince, you can come in quickly, address issues relating to our procurement economy, where Mr. Michael Quay seems to suggest that, well, the president does get involved in issuing contracts or giving directives for someone or other to get a contract. And then this question about claims by Mr. Martin Amidu that there was a committee set up to investigate the Embraer deal, which never saw the light of day.
Well, thank you very much, and good evening to your viewers. Today happens to be the anniversary of the unfortunate passing of the Upper East Regional Chairman of the MPP, and I was hoping that on that basis, I would see my brother, at least in a very solemn manner, trying to deal with issues that would, as it were, address more pressing matters than to be leveling accusations, though unfounded, at the seat of governance. Be that as it may, I'm not here to respond to him. I believe the issue is about corruption, and so I'll deal with corruption broadly, though since he's already poisoned the atmosphere, it's only proper that I at least set some of those issues at the record straight on those. First and foremost, he talks about Embraer jet, and I'm happy at least your responses were apt. He refers to Mr. Martin Amidu's statements concerning that jet issue and so on. And then he makes allusions to the leader of the delegation, which went to see to that Embraer jet issue. Now, I believe that NPP has been in governance before, and so they do know that anytime there's a delegation that is going outside, it comprises of many different experts or technocrats from different ministries. The Embraer jet was first and foremost going to be the property of the Ghana Armed Forces. And so definitely that delegation would have included people from the Defense Ministry, the Ghana Armed Forces, and so on. And so I'm sure the technical details of that negotiation would have been handled by those technocrats and not necessarily by the leader or the figurehead. Be that as it may, they've poisoned the atmosphere sufficiently with it. And so it's only proper, and I'm happy with your responses to him. And I think it lays to rest the fudging of the atmosphere.
She asked responses, or she asked questions.
Yes, but those questions put to rest that issue. In any case, the gentleman, that's Mr. Martin Amidu, that you made reference to, the National Security Coordinator at the time, had answered and said that that is not true. And he has access to every single piece of information during that tenure. And so I think I'll leave it there. And
the West Blue issue.
Yeah, that is another fudging of the issues that MPP wants to throw in. I think that it is very clear that in 2015, government took a policy decision in line with the International Customs Organization's best practice to now move to a single window situation. And if cabinet takes a decision, yes, the president is the head of cabinet. However, he has ministers and other departments and agencies that work in under the finance ministry to ensure that those things come to play, including the customs and so on. There was a lot of debate, and we all in this country knew what the GRA's position was on the matter and so on. So there are lots of correspondence back and forth between these.
Okay, I guess that point is well known.
Yes.
The issue is that the president writing or
The
this
president
letter.
didn't write a letter.
Okay, this letter from the chief of staff,
Yes.
which seeks to suggest that the president has issued a directive that this contract
Yes.
go
You
to
see-
West Blue. Doesn't that
No,
seem
the
to
throw
across
you
the
see,
fact that,
he's a
well,
lawyer.
he also
He's a
gets
lawyer.
involved in
You
some
see,
way or other?
Yeah, he's a lawyer, and he knows that even when you're reading issues of law and you don't read them together, the meaning sometimes can be, not correct. And so I'm surprised that he, dabbles in this kind of propaganda for whatever benefit. Now,
Can he read us a full version if he has it?
Okay, he read a letter. I'm
he
just
read
looking
aspects of the letter.
No.
No, the
The
point.
relevant
no,
aspects. You want me to read it again?
Whatever please.
Okay, can you make
I
the
did
point,
not
Mr.
interrupt you at
J?
all. Now, you see, two things were said. There was a policy direction which was being given, okay? And that is in line with international best practice. Ghana does not control the International Customs Organization. Now, Ghana is part of an overall unit. And so if the world is moving a certain direction, we cannot say that we will not. In any case, there were several correspondents, okay? And the Ministry of Finance had made a recommendation, which and the Ministry of Finance is responsible for that sector, it's not the president. And so when they make a recommendation and the presidency is agreeing to that recommendation in writing through the Office of the Chief of Staff and indicating that they should follow the due process and make sure that the proper procurement laws are followed, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But again, I mean, you can understand NPP.
Okay,
Their
but I guess at this anti-corruption conference that the president attended, it was clear that one of the biggest ways of, corruption, filtering into the system is through public contracting and the public procurement system that we're operating.
Yeah, but
Why is it that under the NDC, it seems that there's been a lot of soul sourcing, and it kind of gives...
That is not true. That is propaganda. That is purely propaganda.
It kind of gives an impression that really there isn't, one, fairness in the system, two, there isn't transparency. Look at the bus branding deal. Everything had been done before everything went to the public procurement authority.
That is one.
That's just because a civil society group fought and got those details. Who would have known?
Can you make can you juxtapose that against the sole sourcing of the Accra Sports Stadium, which a contract was awarded to the Shanghai Group, for which reason we have been hearing them, talking about Woyomi and so on. Who did that sole sourcing? It was President Kufuor. The cabinet, documents that were put out by what's called Osafo Mafu, who also dabbled in the Macmillan contract, which is yet another, very serious matter. Okay. Claims that the president was the one who, after everything else was done, set aside and went and handpicked, the Shanghai Group from China on one of such visits. Two is that even the EO Group, when we got our oil, the president went and sat on DSTV Moisha program. That's Kufuor, and said that he went and brought the people, and therefore he's actually entitled them into the finder's fee that was given to EU. That's $300 million. But the point is that these are not the issues that we are interested in. What is happening in this country? There is no corruption, as it were, that the president has been accused of, apart from what these people would like to throw in. And I think that we must set other parameters also. Then we would look at, there are two candidates in this election that is of interest to the MPP and the NDC. There are other candidates who would also show up. But I think that what they're trying to do right now is just to try and throw as much mud at the sitting president, because they know not only has he not dirtied himself, but he's actually fighting corruption. He's shown, a lot of, in the fight. He's shown light where there's even a hint of corruption. For example, if you look at the national service, issue and how he dealt with it, there's several other such things. Now, what is happening is that his winning the fight is making it seem as though a lot of corruption issues are being unearthed and dealt with to the very bottom. Unlike when they had opportunity, where they set up an accountability office to kind of shield.
I kind of knew that was
coming.
No,
but it is important to compare. I'll come down to their candidate, because honestly, President Kufuor.
I guess you've made the point.
No, I think it is important. No, they've dealt with our candidate. It is important that we now examine their candidate very closely, because please, it is not. You are not the timekeeper. You've been talking for 17 minutes. President Kufuor
is not in office yet. So
no, he has been in office. His record in office. Please. He has been foreign minister. He has been Attorney General, and he has been flag bearer more than once. We'll examine that record of his flag bearership and the fraudulent charges by his chairman, by his general secretary, and other party members against him, for which he has suspended them for whistleblowing. Okay. He had opportunity even in his former position. When he says that his other colleagues were being immoral and stealing lands, he was offered land by telephone. And he rejected it. When he rejected it. No, when he rejected it, why didn't he blow the whistle on the people if he knows it was corrupt? No, he rejected the whistleblower. We cannot trust that man.
That's the same argument I was putting up about Martin Amidu a while ago.
But the point is that
he didn't also blow the whistle while he was in
Anyway,
government.
You're comparing Martin Amidu to
Akufo-Addo.
You are comparing Martin Amidu to Akufo-Addo.
But this is also a former deputy attorney general.
I thought you were referring to me.
No, but
I can have my say.
I think the point is made.
Is not incorruptible.
He is incorruptible.
No, please.
Okay.
Even his spokesperson.
Okay, Prince.
His spokesperson, Nana Komia said he doesn't believe the man is incorruptible.
Okay, you've made your
Nana
point.
Komia never said that.
He said that. He
said
never
ever
is
said
not
that.
incorruptible.
Okay,
No.
Prince, thank you very
He's
much.
never said that.
Yes,
First
so
of all, that is
Mike,
not
you
true.
can now address the issue
that is not
about
true, yes.
the office
This is
of
true.
account, because that issue is going to come up.
Yes, let me-
Certainly, when the school feeding program was running under the Kufuor administration,
Yes.
there were issues of mismanagement and alleged corruption,
Thank you very much.
wrong
Thank you very
contracts
much.
being
The great
awarded.
Cape,
but
the
and
judgment,
but
he wrote a
Prince,
letter.
Prince, please,
Okay.
thank you.
I told you to control him because
I'll send you with the list.
No,
Akufo-Addo's list.
I have the list, so
Okay,
thank you.
Akufo-Addo's list is
yes,
important,
and
yes.
then you can
Corruption
also address the issues raised about, what he was referring to about the parties in reference to this dormant account where some monies were lodged in.
No, not that.
Yes, let
there
me
was
go.
forex fraud. There was
Thank you, Prince.
EcoBank. There's
Thank you,
Prudential Bank.
Prince.
Akufo-Addo's things. There's even a text
Thank you,
messaging
Prince.
fraud.
Okay, so
all
Mike,
of that.
you
Address those
have the
issues.
floor.
First of all, I don't know why my brother is so emotional today. You should take it easy. You know, at the end of the day, we're here to just discuss things for the public to enjoy. Relax.
No problem. Let's deal
Now,
with it.
secondly, let me make this clear. Nana Akufo-Addo was never involved in the suspension of anybody. In MPP, the flag bearer is never involved in the running of the party. We don't allow the flag bearer to call meetings. We don't allow the flag bearer to make any decision in the party. In fact, yes, a lot of people don't know
Prince,
this.
please don't
In our
interrupt. Thank
party,
you.
he attends NEC meeting, has one vote, and then he goes home. Now, Nanado is not the one who told us to vote for Mr. Foko or to vote for Kwabena Jepong. We wanted Kwabena Jepong, we voted for him. And if we want Kwabena Jepong out and we have removed him, Nanado cannot tell us who to vote for and who to remove. So anybody who tries to involve Nanado in that decision part of the party is either a liar or is just a bit of mischief. We don't mind. After all, it's ignorance. Then, with regard to Mr. Paul Afoko and the money matters, look, our party, there was a dispute between the chairman and the treasurer. So the bank account was not working. It's just like how the MPs issue. We couldn't resolve the issue with our MPs. You know, some people were giving waivers, some were not giving waivers, and people were saying that the steering committee should come out with a communique. They couldn't come out because the decision had been taken unilaterally. So, when Mr. Foko traveled, the steering committee met and they rescinded it. When it came to the bank account, we needed 2 signatures. Yet we are going to Talansi. People have given the company or the party checks. We couldn't open it. So the treasurer decided that since there's a dispute on this, he will sign it with another officer of the party, which is Freddie Blay, so that they give the money to John Buidu for Talansi. It's no crime. So anybody who tried to say that that is corruption, and you even Mr. Foko said it's corruption, I say, did Mr. Foko tell us that he was not at the Serbian thing? And the same Mr. Foko didn't Kwekubaku come to show us pictures of him there, addressing the people. So my brother, when Nana Akufo-Addo is not involved in party matters, those issues will be resolved. So me, Kwabena Jepong is a very good friend of mine.
He's leading from behind.
Paul Afoko, his campaign was led by Nana Komia. And yet, we have our own problems. He has been suspended. It's nothing new. Because in their own party, they suspended Kofi Adams. Today, is he not general secretary, national organizer?
For whistleblowing?
But whatever it was, you suspended him.
No, there are 2 different
Okay,
things.
please,
are
let's
you
not
aware?
bring it
No,
up.
wait.
So let's
Are you
wrap up
aware?
the
No, I
issue
just
of
want
the
to. I want to make this
quickly.
clear so that propaganda
No, they
is
suspend
laughable.
whistleblowers. That's serious.
Do you know that Ken Livingston has been suspended from his party?
For whistleblowing?
No, it's not for whistleblowing. Why? Are we not in the country? Did we see all the things that happened in the party? You said today is the 1 year anniversary of what?
The death of
The acid bathing.
Adams.
Of who?
Of your East.
Think hard, my brother. Don't come and sit here and do propaganda.
This is a
There
propaganda.
were issues which are even bigger than these small things. But we don't want to go
that's
into
small.
it because at the end of the day,
Wow.
yes, at the end of the day, it's not about corruption. And even if there's corruption in the party, it's not Nanado. Nanado is not in charge of the funds.
Can you name the people who are corrupt?
Wait,
Prince, please.
Prince, stop being like
Thank
that.
you.
I mean, come
No,
on,
I
man.
just wanted you to name and shame.
Yeah,
No,
but
Prince,
no.
please.
I mean, relax. I'm saying that if you are even alleging corruption, which is not true, it has nothing to do with Nanado. Because Nanado is not part of the party. Nanado, no, he doesn't make decisions for the party. Nanado is nowhere near any decision making in the party, but he doesn't know.
Okay, so
because
can
of
you wrap
ignorance.
up on that and let's
So I want to make that
quickly
clear.
address
Now,
the other
secondly, he says the NDC are fighting corruption. You don't fight
He hasn't
corruption.
touched on the drill ship and the
Oh,
this and
relax.
that.
Now,
Ghana Telecom.
the drill ship and Ghana Telecom come
Yes,
up.
yes.
We're talking about fighting
he
corruption.
mentioned,
I'm giving you the list. I'm
the
giving
fact
another
that
I never
personalized-
heard about drill ship.
I
No,
am giving you
Vodafone.
my list.
He
Yes,
mentioned
exactly.
Vodafone.
Address them.
Please.
Okay.
Oh, but I'll do the
Prince,
same to you. Don't worry,
please.
because you are
No
talking
problem.
next. So
Okay,
remember,
quickly.
I'll do it to you harder.
Yeah.
Now, he talked about the fact that the NDC, they are fighting corruption. President John Mahama is fighting corruption.
And that your
You
time
don't-
you didn't because you set up
Yes,
accountability
you fight
office.
corruption, okay, with what? Your behavior and law, okay? We MPP, when we came to fight corruption, he should name me 2 things that they have put in place to fight corruption.
Oh, several. I can give you several. You want
Okay?
them right now?
Yes, I'll get the 2, don't worry.
Okay.
We set in place the Financial Administration Act, the Procurement Act, the repeal of the criminal libel law to allow journalists like yourself to put things in the newspaper without fear of being arrested by the police, like they are using the BNI in this case in some of these instances. And then the Whistleblowers Act,
Whistleblowers.
that was also brought in.
That Foko Act.
Now, nobody in the party has been penalized for whistleblowers, so I've already made that analogy. In their time, do you remember a man called Odum in the famous Muntaka case? Yes. When he went to blow the whistle, you see what happened to him? He was sacked from his job. Even though the minister was made to resign, the allegations were true. He was sacked under you. So I don't see how you can come here and pontificate and try to change the whole agenda. All I'm saying is that the MPP put all of these measures, I've given 4 on the top of my head right now, that was to fight corruption. When it came to corruption, they said, President Kufuor said, corruption is from the days of Adam. So no.
And bring me the
Yes.
evidence.
Kufuor said, yes, bring me the evidence. Hasn't John Mahama said the same? Hasn't Mills said the same? They said, bring me the evidence. You see, sometimes when you are in, you're
Public
outside
office.
the seat, you can talk. But when the time comes, NDC, they rushed. They made a lot of noise. My brother was part of it. When they came to power, started arresting people, took everybody to court. I personally won 3 cases against the NDC. Arresting this there, arresting this here, arresting everywhere. Yana, this, that. They lost every single case. You had no case in court. So as for you coming to sit here and shout corruption, white cape, Nanado did nothing with the cape. When he came, the cape case had already been decided by NDC that they should pay the money.
What
and
was
he
the
came
business
and
matters?
agreed. No, and he came and agreed that okay, if they say they should pay the money, then let's pay. How can that be a crime? You came into power saying that we are corrupt. You have not been able to prosecute one single MPP
I think
person.
he needs to
Ask him
correct
how
that
come.
statement.
How come?
Nana Akufo-Addo wrote a letter to the same Martin Amidu and the finance minister begging them to pay extra money to Great Cape. What was his interest?
It's not begging.
He was begging.
It's not begging.
Read that
He
letter.
said
You have all those
a
letters.
decision
Read it.
had been made in the era of Chikata.
Can you read that letter?
Okay.
I'm sure you have it.
So you
too.
bring it. You make
You
an
don't- you don't have
allegation,
the
don't bring a
letter. You
letter.
don't
I mean,
have
when
the
I made an allegation, I brought letter.
No, you don't have the letter.
How can I bring letter for your allegation? I mean, have you heard this before?
No.
He doesn't know
My
anything
goodness.
about law.
My
That he
goodness.
no wait.
Okay, so
let me
Madam
help you
Jifa-
there. Then let me help
no,
you.
Madam
Let me
Jifa,
help you
no,
there.
because what he's doing, I'll do the same thing.
Okay,
Don't worry.
Prince, please.
Madam, he must learn the
Heckling-
law
let's
of
not
this.
do
He must
the
learn the law.
heckling.
He who asserts must what?
Proof.
Thank you.
So let me
and
do
you
that.
come and,
So let me do that right now.
Okay,
relax,
you answer, but you didn't deal with their cases.
Which one?
For instance,
The
I
drill
mean,
ship.
nobody is,
Which
or
one?
no government is free. Like, for instance, I mentioned the school feeding program.
And the drill
What-
ship.
what was wrong with the
the
school?
school feeding?
No,
Is not
the school feeding
please let
program
him deal with
suffered a
the
lot of,
ones.
And what happened?
issues.
Wait, and when the school feeding program, there were allegations. There wasn't any fact finding. So
The
I don't
drill ship-
know.
The
Yes.
drill ship. There's adverse
Wait,
finding
drill
against
ship, no.
Akufo-Addo.
Drill ship. Let
And
me tell you something.
Katie Hammond.
Yeah,
Deal
relax,
with that.
relax.
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Drill
You
ship. You
finally
know,
mentioned
you know,
drill
yes,
ship.
you know that Mr. Katie Hammond has gone to court on that matter.
Yes.
He has
Because-
he intends to go to court.
No, he's filed.
He's filed.
Well,
No
you see,
problem.
he doesn't know what is
no,
going
no.
on in this country. Oh. But you're
Okay,
making,
Prince.
relax.
He was raving and ranting on
Prince, if
City
you relax,
yesterday.
you will learn.
I listened to him yesterday.
Learn.
No, but
Okay,
this-
so
That's what she's telling you. You don't know. She's fouled. Learn.
okay, so
Relax.
please. Okay,
Uh-huh.
so please.
The drill ship. There's even a big problem at the moment with it because the person who made the decision with regard to the drill ship, okay, was not Nana Akufo-Addo.
Really?
It was no. The drill ship, when the money was paid, the money was to be disbursed. It's left with 900,000. And they are saying that the 900,000, where is the money? Katie Yaman has shown you where the money is. Can you believe that yet they didn't bring Mr. Justice, Mr. Chachu Chikata in to come and deal with those matters? Okay. Nana Akufo-Addo said he was ready to come in and deal with the matters. He was not allowed to come and speak. So how can you find someone culpable in a commission where you didn't allow the person to come and speak?
Okay, at this point, I have to.
So if I just land on this point for a minute.
Please, Derek,
against
please,
the
can you
rule
stop
of
the interruptions? Thank
the
you very
rules
much.
of justice,
So,
the rules of
Mike,
natural
please
justice
just
say
wrap
this
up.
here, that everybody, before you can be found culpable, you must be allowed the chance for a fair hearing.
Yes.
Nanado was not even heard in the matter, and yet he has been found culpable. That is nothing but what I would call preposterous.
Okay,
so,
note that, Prince, please just,
on the
Mr.
Joseph,
J, please stop. I have to take these text messages and we'll come back. Let's take these text messages. And this one says, NDC can't fight corruption because there's corruption all over their party. Mr. Derek J should not mislead us. This one says, please ask Mike, when did Kweku Baku show Afoko's pictures? In any case, did Afoko say he didn't go to the hotel where the Serbians were kept?
he said he didn't know.
He said he didn't. Okay, so that's from Tijani Abdul. This one says the heckling is too much. Yes, I agree with you. We'll try and do a better job of controlling them. This one from
but he's heckling me. How can you be controlling
Attila
them?
from Keta says the Mahama administration has seen
camera
some
caught you.
corrupt practices, and to the extent that every contract undertaken does not follow the Procurement Act is a problem. Their struggle to fight corruption is a sham. This one says, Jifa, I want to ask Prince if the question the president was asked on corruption, if it was going to be marked, if it was an examination, yes or no questions would have been the option. That's from Maxwell Kufuor.
That's not correct. I mean, it's not every question you answer with a yes or no. For example, Jifa, look me in the eye and answer. Have you ever taken a bribe?
No.
Then you explain. You always say yes or no, then you explain.
No, I hope the camera was looking you straight in the eye.
I don't
your
know.
eyes were wandering,
but,
even though your lips were saying no.
but no.
No, you see, I'll be very frank with you.
Now ask me like I'm a
No,
hammer.
no,
You ask
no,
me.
no. You see, they've
Ask
had,
me.
they've had
Anyway,
opportunity.
but this is the I
they've
got you
had-
question,
no, you
I
see,
guess.
No, it wasn't a yes or no kind of question.
Oh, how?
You can
You
ask
say
for
no,
clarification.
then you add the rest.
No, seriously. In the case of the Vodafone, Akufo-Addo collected $5,000. That is what their own MP alleged.
And the majority or the MPs disputed the allegation.
whether they
made.
disputed it
there
or
was
not-
no proper proof
No, please,
made
please.
that showed that the allegation was true.
Has not Akufo-Addo come to tell us that he did not get 5,000 but 5,500?
Please, I remember and Dr. Anthony Akoto say vehemently
No,
disputed
it's not about
all
him.
these
It is about
allegations.
Akufo-Addo. Has Akufo-Addo come out personally to say how much he received, whether it was 5,000,
Okay, but even about
5,500
whether
or less?
anyone came out or not, there was no evidence to
On the-
show
on the
that
drill ship
really
issue,
any
no,
money
hold on.
was paid
on,
MPs.
On the drill ship issue also. Now, Nana Akufo-Addo was Attorney General. Nana Akufo-Addo could have taken steps that would have made it impossible for what has happened to happen. Acts of omission and commission are also equal in terms of guilt and culpability. Now, you see, when he was telling the story of the drill ship, he went and started from the center about some 900 million or whatever.
Okay, I just asked you to answer one question.
Okay,
You've
then please
taken
let him start
over.
from
So
the
let me
beginning of drill ship.
let
Who
me
caused
con-
it?
Let me
Let him
continue
start.
with
Jifa,
the
let him
text
start. Beginning
messages.
of drill
This
ship.
one
Akufo-Addo
says,
is culpable.
please, gentlemen, thank you. This one says, the president is doing well in terms of corruption. Nana Akufo-Addo cannot be compared to John Mahama. This one says, the NDC can't fight corruption because there is corruption all over. This one says, Jifa, the MPP man should not throw dust into our eyes. Until the NDC man came, he was just throwing dust into our eyes. That's from Esinam. So those are some of the text messages coming through. Okay, there's an interesting one here coming from the US. It says, fighting corruption, the fact is that a thief cannot arrest a thief. Africa is suffering because of corruption. Our system of government is what we describe as democracy, but it is a sham. That's from Nana in the USA. And I'll take a final one. It says, Jifa, our institutions in Ghana are too weak. There are too many loopholes and consist of too many square pegs in round holes. These can never make the fight against corruption effective. And those were some of your messages. Thank you very much. We just have about 15 minutes to wrap up here. I want us to just move away quickly from all of this because the issue of fighting corruption, we can never end it.
Can I wrap my bit? Yes.
1 minute wrap.
Oh, well, okay. I think that the next opportunity you get, you must question people like Mr. Gabi Ochre-Darko.
Why do you want to mention these people who are not here and I don't have an opportunity to raise these issues with them? So please, let's not personalize this, as I've said.
Martin Amidu is not in the studio. His name was mentioned.
Yes, but that was in relation to something, and I
sought to, and you had
an opportunity to respond to that.
Talked about Nana Akufo-Addo receiving a phone call, being given land for what? What was he being offered the land for? Was it a bribe?
This is the airport. Are you talking about the airport land?
They should be answering. I don't know. Do you know?
I can answer it.
No, but what are you referring? No, what are you referring to?
I know what that land case is about.
What are you referring to, Mr.
You see, they are now admitting to receiving calls offering them things that don't belong to them.
No. For what do you mean it doesn't belong to them? The state lands were being sold. They asked, do you want to buy some of the state lands? I'm not interested.
Were you asked?
Simple.
Were you asked?
Yes.
You were asked?
I'm not personally, but I know people were asked.
No, I'm saying where you also asked.
Why do I have to be asked?
So the state lands that belongs to all Ghanaians. That was given to. Hold on.
Have you not bought state lands? NDC people, they don't bought state lands.
Please, don't go there.
You want us to start naming NDC people and bought state lands?
Please. We are talking about specific issues.
Okay, but that is not a corruption issue. The
Excuse
point
me, do you know the basis?
I beg your pardon.
Do you know the basis for which was being offered the land?
I beg your pardon. There was an Accra redevelopment project.
He was being paid something for nothing.
It may be that the buying of these lands was not morally right, but there was nothing illegal.
So everybody in the MPP was immoral because
I'm just
President
saying,
Kufuor took it.
Unless there's something illegal,
but Jifa, with knowledge,
That is
you just mentioned the Accra redevelopment plan.
Please.
The Accra redevelopment plan was started by the NDC.
Please, but
they started buying the land.
So please, I want to put
I'm surprised
you
are throwing this to Ghanaians.
Excuse me. Gabi Ochre-Darko
and I think your party has made a decision that no more state bungalows and lands will be sold.
Because you were using it as an avenue for corruption. That is what
you brought
Nana
it as an avenue
was
for
at the heart of it. He was offered the bribe. He rejected it and failed to blow the whistle.
The land was a bribe.
I'll leave it to the viewers.
No, but excuse me.
The viewers should
judge. What was the land for then? Can you tell us what it was for?
So what was the law for? You brought it for corruption.
Oh, excuse me. Now,
okay, I think we need to wrap up on because what I know,
and he didn't even receive it. You said he rejected it.
He did nothing.
Nana rejected it. How can you say he's corrupt?
He rejected bribe. Fine.
It's not bribe.
How do you know that was a bribe, Mr. Derek J?
So
what is the proof for that? Because from what I know of that saga, it was part of the Accra redevelopment project. People were offered state lands.
People, which people?
I know public officials were offered state lands.
From
your time. And some of them rejected it. It raised a lot of criticism. And so you, as your government, took a decision that these lands will not be sold.
So there's evidence of Nana Akufo-Addo at least
I
receiving
don't
a phone
know
call
about Nana Akufo-Addo. That's why I said, what is the proof?
And when he was offered, what did he do? President Mills, did he say he has been offered bribe and rejected it?
Please, we have to this.
President Mills, did he say he has been offered bribe and he rejected it?
So
Nana Akufo-Addo is incorruptible.
Nana Akufo-Addo
which is not a bribe.
No, Akomia said he doesn't believe that anybody is.
Akomia never said that.
He said it.
He
said
nobody
in public office.
So please.
No,
Nana Akomia never said that. No, he never said that. Have you heard Akomia say that before?
He said that this week.
Okay, so please, gentlemen, we need to end this.
He was asked the question, and he said that he cannot say that anybody in office, okay, or a politician cannot say that he's never been offered bribe or received bribe, and therefore he disagrees with the president. What about Akufo-Addo? Isn't he a politician?
But he didn't. But never talked about
So if we talk about incorruptibility, then be principled. Oh, so your position is only referencing.
Okay,
President.
I think we need to end this on this note.
We cannot trust you guys. And
thank you very much, Prince Derek J. Okay, so this week there was also another landmark issue that emerged, and this was from a statement coming from the Electoral Commission. They're taking a decision on how they would be dealing with the names in the voters' register, those who'd registered with NHIS cards. They say they don't have the right to remove or delete these names. First, let me take your take on it, Prince Derek J.
Well, I think that we live under a constitutional regime, and Ghana must be governed by rules, the law that is. And we must respect institutions, especially independent institutions like the Electoral Commission. I believe very strongly that every Ghanaian has, the right to challenge things that they don't have understanding of. And so if Mr. Abu Ramadan and his party, the MPP, have decided to go to court to seek interpretation, it's their right to do.
Mr. Abu Ramadan went to court as an individual. I don't know about him going to court
he went,
on the MPP's
if you listen to Nana
MPP.
Kumia just today.
So please, let's make reference to what is the fact. He went to court on his own.
No, it's a fact. The facts are what I'm laying bare. And Nana Kumia has stated categorically today, and vehemently so, that that's the MPP position, okay? That includes Abu Ramadan, who was a former
They
PNC.
back what he has done.
It's
It
not about
doesn't
backing.
mean they sent him.
PNC. Abu Ramadan is not MPP.
He's a PNC.
He's a brother-in-law to your
It doesn't matter. He's a member.
No,
So,
see,
Prince, please, let's
no,
stick
it's
to
important
so,
that-
Mr. Derek J, please, let's stick to the fact. So, Abu Ramadan...
These are also facts. He's
Abu Ramadan...
brother-in-law to
That is
Bawumia,
irrelevant
true or
to
not true?
this. That
No,
is...
he said facts. I'm just...
Okay, but that's irrelevant to the discussion we're
now
having
married
now.
to
He has
Rollins
the
daughter,
point.
so I'm
He has-
NDC.
He has an interest.
So, please, let's
He
stick to the
benefits
fact. He
from-
went to court. He took a lawyer, went to court to challenge those who registered.
Nana Bedietio was his
yes.
lawyer. That's an MPP.
Please give us the
lawyer.
time,
Now,
because as he's wasting his time
So
on that,
I'm not
please,
wasting my
please,
time.
can you
Now,
go
see,
straight to the
There
point?
are
Thank
vested
you.
interests, and we must lift the veil for Ghanaians. This discussion is for Ghanaians who may have been hoodwinked. You see, we are politicians, and let's be very straight with Ghanaians. Politicians play a game. He's my brother, like he rightly said. We can have all the heated discussions here, but we'll go and drink, a bottle of Coke together and smile. And then why make Ghanaians feel like as though we are enemies, and then they go and fight and pour acid on one another? That is wrong. And I'm saying that when politicians like Abu Ramadan, for whatever interest, seek to disenfranchise other Ghanaians, that is wrong. And we must take that position so that Ghanaians can see clearly. Now, the bottom line is this. Now, some Ghanaians, okay, at the time when no such determination had been made by any court, went and registered. At that time, it was possible for you to register with anything, including the national health, cards, and they did. Now, those Ghanaians, and it could have been you or I. If I had a passport, I had any other card, and I had the NHIS, and it was not illegal to use the NHIS, and I used that one to register. What crime have I committed? Now, you are saying that these people must be deleted. That's what they sought to do. In fact, when they went to court initially...
the court has taken a decision on that.
But when they went
so
to court initially, when they went to court
decision.
initially, that was not the only thing that they wanted. You know the remedies they went to seek. And I hope that he will tell us all the truth. What his party and the clique that they have some in other, scattered in other parties, pretending not to be MPP, are doing. The whole issue is very clear. They want to disenfranchise as many Ghanaians as possible so they can win an election. Bottom line. Now,
But
the court
Mr.
has
Derek
directed...
J, a court has issued a judgment.
And the EC is complying with it
It's a
in as
directive
far
to
as
the
it is possible.
Electoral Commission.
Yes.
I want you to address
And the
that because the
EC
court indicated
Yes.
that these names that were registered using these cards, they have to now be removed and be allowed to re-register.
Now, you see, let me tell you something. Our
So
laws
please,
are not retrospective.
I wish to
Our
ask,
laws cannot take retrospective effect. Now, this, pronouncement or order by the court was just recent. Now, the court did not order them to delete the names. It said they should take steps. And there are processes. The EC has not said it's not going to do it. It's saying that it's going to do it following a certain timetable. We cannot say that, for example, because this issue has come up by Abu Ramadan so that his brother-in-law can become a vice president. So definitely everybody should be thrown out and then we should have chaos in this country and we cannot even have a November 7th election. No, the EC has its timetable. There are opportunities that are inherent in there for people to even, continuous registration. There's been the limited registration. Unfortunately, the court did not rule before the limited registration. So if these people even had opportunity at the time, if they are taking opportunity, they would have done double registration, in which case automatically they would have been removed anyway and would have been suspended for 5 years and they could not have entered in this election. Now we have a certain time frame.
Okay, if you do not
take opportunity within 60 days prior to the election date, you cannot take part in this current election. So there are timelines and the EC is doing what is feasible. The EC is not just some pushover.
So you back
in any
the
case,
EC.
as IPAC, I understand the majority of the parties have agreed that they'll go along with what the EC has said.
You back the EC. So, Michael Quay Jr., your point.
Yes. We had a situation where the Supreme Court...
Okay, first, your response to suggestions that this is all a smokescreen by...
the MPP and its apparatchiks.
By Abu Ramadan to support the NPP to help them win an election.
Yes, when I go through it, it will answer it in its entirety. Basically, what the Supreme Court said in a nutshell is that, one, they will not set aside the 2012 register. That's the first thing they will do. Two, that names have to be deleted, and those names that are deleted will have to be given the opportunity to re-register a certain category, a certain group, because we all know that when they say delete a name and give the person a chance to re-register, it is in a context. Now, anybody who's a foreigner who comes to register, it's a crime. So the person cannot be allowed to re-register. Anybody who's dead is a crime.
No,
The
he's
person
dead and
who's
gone.
dead is gone. Anybody who's a child,
Yes, a
it's
minor.
a crime. So even if now you're an adult, you'll not be allowed electoral functions for 5 years. So anybody who is dead, in this case too, after that one, they remove your name because
Even
you are
if it's
no
not
more
removed, you can't vote because it's
part,
biometric.
part of us.
Prince,
So
please.
Well,
that
I'm
is
just helping
for
him.
I beg your pardon.
the register. Thank you very much for controlling. So in this vein, the only people that the register in terms of the Supreme Court could be referring to that they should be deleted but be given the chance to re-register are those with NHIS cards. And why is that the case? The court itself said in the judgment that those who registered with the NHIS cards, they did so at that time, even though unconstitutional now, at that time it was lawful. They had not committed any crime. But their registration nonetheless is not acceptable. If you look at the issue 7, it says there that yet we cannot allow an illegality to be in the register because, and they use the word, and this is the exact word they use, it will mean that it is not reasonably accurate or credible. So the answer is yes, their names must be deleted, but they must be given a chance to re-register. However, they must be allowed to, the EC must be allowed to do that within applicable law. A lot of people have misconstrued applicable law to mean existing law. And let me give you the reason why.
We have just 1 minute.
1
if
minute,
you can
okay,
just,
so let me just wrap
yes,
up. You know, for
summarize.
example, the EC at the moment, we are going to do election on the 7th of November.
That is now even...
Yes, but it's not the
unclear.
law at the moment.
Yes.
So because an EC cannot do it unless it is applicable law. So in order for it to become applicable law, the EC would have to table it down and take it as a constitutional instrument to Parliament. By the same vein, if the EC wants to follow the Supreme Court ruling, because you see, CI 72, which was repealed and now replaced by CI 91, it has a deletion mode, but it doesn't have the answer to re-registering after deletion, because at that time, there was no problem with NHIS card registration. So the law at that time could not foresee that there will be a situation where you delete and have to re-register. So the law just caters for deletion, but not for re-register. So in line with the Supreme Court order, when the EC wants to apply that, what they will do now is to table it to Parliament, then it will become applicable law. So when I hear the EC saying that the law at the moment does not allow for anybody to be deleted and re-registered, so they are not going to do anything, I ask the EC, does the law at the moment allow anybody to vote on November 7th?
Okay.
But because they want it to be applicable,
they are working at it.
They are working at it.
But
so the same way too, they can work at it.
No, but even if you use
to
the
get-
extra
you understand
1
the
month,
argument I'm
even if
making?
you use the one extra
Oh,
month
Derek,
table,
Derek.
So I
Derek,
guess the
Derek.
two of you agree on it. They can work at it, so they should work at it. And that's where we
Anyway.
have to bring the program to an end. Thank you very
this-
much.
no,
those
this-
of
this
you
is a
who
good
sent
one.
us text message, those of you who joined
let
us
them
to
take it
watch
this
as
short.
well.
They should get it.
Thanks to our guest, Prince Derek Ajay, Deputy CEO of the Youth Enterprise Support Program, also to Deputy Communications Director of the NPP, Michael Quay Jr. Thank you for joining us. Join us again next Friday for another edition.